big one, the one with the potential to take the longest of the whole thing, and that's the scope out. Here you are arriving at the airport, and ideally you're going to find the secondaries you want here, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. But this time I'm going to cover the whole island just so that you see where everything is. But in an ideal world, you would show up at the airport, you would find 2 cases of Pepsi Cola, and you'd be like, hey, there's my scouting out of the way. I'm good to go. You're going to turn around and you're going to run into that building right behind where you got frisked first off, and just run up to the bottom fence here and see what you got. Pull out your phone and take a picture if it's something that you may be interested in. Generally, you're looking for cases of Pepsi Cola, and you're looking for some smoke. If it's not one of those two and it's just cash, well, then keep the cash in the back of your mind. Maybe you could use it to top up a bag, but you're never trying to look for cash, so I don't even take pictures of it myself. Once you've looked at those, the next location is just upstairs, so you're going to want to climb on top of that pallet and use that to boost yourself up top to look into this fence. You're going to jump out, you're just going to run right across the way. First thing to notice is that all of the guards are friendly. They have a little white dot. When they're aggro, they're going to have a red dot, but if they see you, they won't become hostile unless you are holding a gun. So here's the next area where you want to scope out some loot. So ideally, either here or back there. Grand total, you're going to have 2 Pepsi Colas, and then that would mean that you're good to go. Once you've done this for the first time in the open world, you'll have a chance to encounter a dead body that's got a metal detector on it. And once you pick up that metal detector, you are going to be able to find these buried stashes, and each one's worth 25k, so that can help cut off the startup fee by half. So I always find these. Some people skip them because time is money, but if you want the money, then that's what these are. So I'm going to steal a Jeep and take it over to a buried stash just to show you what they look like. They won't have a glow or anything, but there is a visual indicator. They look like a little pile of sand if you are able to spot them with your eyes and you're not relying solely on the beeping of your metal detector. And then just to hammer it in that these guards are never going to bother you, let's go bother them, shall we? Now that we've got a Jeep. And as you can see, there are no alarms. Unfortunately, I can't use his gun. It's just gonna give me the ammo and a little message about it. Not being that I can't use my weapons. Now, these vehicles are always here. Every time you come here, the vehicles will be in the same spot, so you can try and memorize where they all are. Just, you never know when you're gonna need one. But this one is the go-to motorcycle. Right there at the airport. That's pretty much the vehicle you want to take for all of your speed runs, because ideally you're never going to get caught, and then you are going to need a motorcycle at some point to do this as fast as possible. Notice where I am here. This is a tricky spot, and I'll switch to some other footage, but there's a guard and tower that abruptly likes to swing around and spot you. and there are some nice shiny motorcycles sitting there, but you should never run up to them and just take one because you will get spotted by that guard. So you gotta wait until you see the cone looking on the bikes, wait until it looks away, and right then run up and grab one. You'll always have enough time to get on one and get away, but it's going to be a problem if you just run over and forget that this fella is there. So do try and remember this little spot. So what we're going to do is cut through this, and we're going to go over to the North Dock. That's what this area is. You can choose to approach directly here. If this happens to be where the Pepsi is, you can find two here. Well, then this is where you'll start. You'll always want to come down here and stop near this building, and it's going to sound funny, but always park the bike in the dirt so you know where that bike is, because you'd be amazed even in the daylight how you can lose that bike in the bushes, and you got to go on a little hunt for it before you can leave. So park in front of the building or park down by the water just so you know where to find that bike. But you're going to come up here and you're going to kind of hug the wall. Now don't go around the corner because you can get seen there. Look on the mini-map and make sure that nobody's looking at you, because if something happens to be coming down that path, it will see you around the corner. So just stay behind the building until you're sure nothing's coming at you, and then you're probably going to be fine, because when something does come down looking, it takes a while before whatever happened again. So scope out the area there and then just run around the corner here. Go up to the gate, and I like to use the zoom on the camera to see what's on those tables if I can't get a good look. But you're gonna come up here, hopefully find yourself what you're looking for, take a picture. You should have more than enough time to take your pictures and then run off around the corner. Notice that we always come in from that one side because that little icon is a security camera on the other side, so we don't want to get spotted by that. Now that we've got some loot, we're going to run around the side, and then we're going to swim across the water, jump up to the other side, and we're going to go to the second lockup where you can potentially find some secondaries. I always crawl up this thing and see what's up top. Sometimes there's a grappling hook, which you're not going to need for the purposes of this. Sometimes there are bolt cutters, and bolt cutters can be nice because when you open up those gates with your blowtorch when you come back, blowtorch makes noise, bolt cutters doesn't really make a difference at the end of the day, but hey, always have a look. Always on the lookout for a random vehicle coming by, but notice that one security camera? It's kind of strange because it doesn't look like it'll spot you if you go too close to it, even if that cone's not touching you, but it will. If you still need more, just do a quick look on the map, make sure you're not about to get seen, and then you're going to sprint across. We're going to go all the way to that end building, that big long one. It's got two doors, and that's the last one in this area that could potentially have something to take. Going to the side of the building, notice that there is a guard and a guard tower that will swing by, and the vision can touch the building. Usually takes a good amount of time for him to look in that direction and then look away again. And another thing of note about the finale, if you do plan to get some loot that is in here, there will be a guard that comes in here. You're going to have to take that guard out, and in the other lockup you're going to have to then wait around for one of the vehicles to come and kill the driver, otherwise he's going to see the other guys that you have killed. And of note, you might have noticed we could have just stolen that boat there and taken that, so why don't we do that? Well, you can actually only get up on the land a couple spots on this whole island, so I could have taken the boat just fine, but I wouldn't have been able to get anywhere I wanted to go easily, so that's why we just left it. getting back on the bike. We kind of want to stay on near the beach, but we're almost in position to where we want to go. We're going to go find a mountain, and we're just going to jump over it and go to the next part of the compound. Let's go get in position here. You're going to wait somewhere around here until you can see that guard in the tower's vision cone swing over towards you. Now you're going to wait for it to go away. As soon as it's gone away, you know that you've got more than enough time to slam on the gas and go do this jump, which I'm going to show you here. And sometimes jumping just doesn't go your way after trying a few times. So there is another way you can get over that wall if you do have problems and don't want to jump, which I'll show you that now. When you're doing the jump, you don't want to aim over towards the mountains. You actually want to kind of aim yourself towards the guard tower, at the road behind the guard tower in your mind. So that's the direction of the angle you want to come at, and you want to pop a wheelie while you're doing it. I find that's the most consistent way to get some air and actually get up that hill. Once you make your way over, you're going to do another little jump over this other rock or go around it nice and carefully so that you don't fall off into the water. Just hug the cliff all the way down, and when you get near the road, look for a guard. He'll never turn around, but be sure there's not a vehicle coming that can spot you, and then just drive across the street, just like that. Don't even worry about him. He's not going to hear you ever or anything. So here I have to explain a mechanic that can happen later because this is one of the locations where we may be able to find this item we need for it, and the item would be called cutting fluid. It looks like a little box of laundry detergent that'll be glowing. It's an obvious thing that you can pick up, and what it's used for is there is a water tower that we can make our way to. If we find this, we can dump it in the water tower, and what that's going to do is poison all of the guards on the island, so by the time we come back they're all really sick and their aim really sucks. Now we're just going to make our way up and around here. Follow this sort of path, sort of hugging the outside of the tents. Going over here, you'll notice there's a little gap where you can just kind of go around the fence. Shortly in front of it is another low-lying fence. You kind of got to pop a wheelie and jump. So from here, we just want to go across the street. You can see in the direction of our yellow dot, and looking both ways for cars coming at you. Just fly across the street and go up that hill as soon as you see an opening. Once you make your way up to the tower, I wouldn't worry about any of the guards. So just looking for vehicles, put your bike down somewhere, and make your way over here to the back of the gates, and just go on in here. And now, you may not have to worry about getting your bike back because half the time, I don't ever take it from here. If I've already got the buried treasure and I don't want that, and especially if I've already got cutting fluid, then I'm good to go. We can actually parachute the rest of the way, which I will demonstrate for you. But let's go in here and we're going to look for the power box. I have this power box here, and we've got to do a little mini game to get access to the app that we're going to use to view the vault. There it is. This little mini game, if you haven't seen it before, usually these three things on the end are little modifiers. Sometimes they double the value, sometimes it's 10x. It's usually pretty easy, so you're just going to match these up until they give you a grand total of what you're looking for. There we are. Now you don't have to look at the app right now. It's on your phone. As long as you're on the island, you can look at it wherever you want. Just don't leave. If you leave and come back, you're going to have to come up this tower all over again to get the app back on your phone. But for now, you can look at it whenever you want. pull up the phone and go to this Sightseer app. Let's have a look at the, I call it the vault, but the basement lockup is where the main loot is. There we are, we have bearer bonds this time. Now, there's no point in looking at the rest of these camera feeds because unless you're coming with other people, you're not going to be able to access any of the areas that have this loot anyway. So you may as well just see what's in that basement and then be on your way. Since you'll always have a parachute on you when you come here, I'm going to now use it to parachute over and put that cutting fluid into the water tower. As you can see, that's the water tower there. It's got those lights on it at night, but it's pretty easy to find in the day. If I don't have the cutting fluid, I'm still going to parachute, but I'm going to go to this little helipad here, because nearby is the other location where you might find some cutting fluid. If it's not there, then we're not going to bother with it, but if it is there, we may as well just scoop it up and throw it in. And landing near the helipad, we're just going to go to the front of this little building here. Just notice where it is on the mini-map, and we're going to look for some cutting fluid there. And there it is. So just watching where this guard is walking on the street there and looking out for vehicles. I'm going to run over to the water tower, just crawl up there, and we'll put the cutting fluid in. Well, some other footage here, if you already have the cutting fluid because it was in the last spot, you can parachute and land right on top of the thing if you want to be James Bond about it. Alright, so this whole area is known as Main Dock, and it is an area you can start at. This is where you'll start at when you want to go to the airport, because the airport's actually very nearby. So what we want to do first is go to this barn right past the building where we looked for the cutting fluid, and just looking out for the guards, as long as, you know, use common sense to not get hit by a cone or a driver, and run on in here and we'll see what's there. Of note, this particular one can be a minor pain if you have to come here for your finale, so again, this one's lower on the priority list, but it's definitely doable. Now we're just going to run across the street sort of idea. Just sort of watch where I go, and you can just take the path the same way every time, just using common sense. So we're just going to watch there for this guard. He likes to walk around behind the building and do his loop. So if he's not standing, like making his way to the door, then you're safe to run over there and see what's through the gate. There is one more here, which is around the corner of this building. However, you will always need more than one person here because there's this switch lever thing on the wall. One person's going to have to hold it down, and that'll make the door open. If you let go of it, the door closes, so you can't get this one solo, unfortunately. Now, when you're done, you can fast travel out of here and you're fine. As long as you've seen your secondaries and your main, you're good to go. It's already saved. However, that plane icon is technically where we leave the map, so let's just go steal a boat and we'll drive a boat over there, because we can bring a boat up to the airport. We know that, so we may as well. Just for fun. what a great landing. And notice this building here, area, there's 2 power boxes here. If you do want to shut them down, it will turn off all the cameras on the island. But when you get to the main compound, they'll all be turned on again, so it's really sort of useless. If you want to take out a camera, you can shoot it down easy enough. You don't really have to go through the trouble, but here it is anyway. And with that, we're just going to run back over to the plane, and we are done. After a cutscene, this method is going to drop us at the airport. However, if we had done the fast travel, of course, we'd be right back on the Kosatka and ready to go. So that's the method I would advise you to use, but you can do this too if you want. So with that, now we get back to the Kosatka and get on with our setup missions.